Ladies and gentlemen, I promise you that the wait is going to be well worth it because we are in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the only platform where all wrestling matters, Sports Wire Radio. Now, you might be looking at my shirt saying, who the F is? But, well, you might want to say, who the F is Michael McMoney? Well, I'm going to tell you a lot about him tonight. I'm going to tell you about especially what's coming up here in less than 48 hours from now. Legit Alternative Wrestling's next show, Guilty by Association. I am guilty to be talking all things related to legit alternative wrestling, and especially with the one and only Michael McMoney, whose career spans well over 15 years, a decade and a half. You've seen him in places like RWA. You've seen him in WVWA, where he has been a reigning, defending WVWA champion once upon a time for over 4 years. Take that, Hulk Hogan. Take that, Roman Reigns. But we're going to talk about certainly what is to come this Wednesday. We'll maybe talk about Dave Jamieson and Timothy Titan. How about that tag team tournament there? Yeah, we'll definitely get into that. How about maybe, I don't know, what's going on with La El Shaddai and Godric Sandwell, Pepper Pride? Maybe I'll ask him about what was going on there with Soul Taker doing the news. Yeah, that's right. He was doing the news. I might have to talk about that. We'll most certainly talk about Courtney Wood, who's almost become such a staple here that she may even take over for me on Sportswire Radio, whether she likes it or not. And how about her being so famous that she was featured in a website for a publishing company over in Canada that once produced Bret Hart's weekly stuff, Slam Wrestling? Oh, we'll talk about that. Plus, who knows whatever else. Plus, I'll have an announcement for Legit Alternative Wrestling because I'll be giving them something. Oh, boy. You are definitely going to want to stay tuned for this one. But, before we go on and officially introduce our guest. Now, I know that Mr. McMoney's last name is Money, and he may or may not have as much money as me. I would say he probably doesn't, but I will tell you what I will do for him, because I know he's watched some of these shows before, and I see I've got a chat because people are waiting for this one. I'm going to give you an introduction, because after all, we're in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the platform that you and Legit Alternative Wrestling most certainly helped build, Sportswire Radio, to the tune of nearly 1,450 subscribers, which led us to not one, not two, not three, but four magical moments with some guy, Rhino, who was apparently the last real ECW champion, the most recent TNA Impact Wrestling Hall of Famer. Some guy, Savio Vega, who some would say was responsible for the career of Stone Cold Steve Austin. This guy, Doug Pinnick, who only opened up for AC/DC during the Razor's Edge tour, Pearl Jam during the Versus tour, Woodstock, and then, just opened up for Tool in the Dominican Republic 2 weeks ago. And then this guy, Randy Jackson, who, not to be confused with the American Idol guy, but apparently was supposed to have been a part of the next American version of Led Zeppelin, who, oh, by the way, just celebrated his 42nd anniversary of his debut album for the band Zebra, which was at the time the fastest selling debut album in the entire history of Atlantic Records. And those last two names I just mentioned were featured in a publication that has 1 million readers daily in this thing called blabbermouth.net. That is why you, sir, are going to get that introduction. So, ladies and gentlemen, to quote the words of Joe Elliott, the singer of Def Leppard, let's get rocked tonight, baby, on Sportswire Radio, because Legit Alternative Wrestling is too legit with Sportswire Radio. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get right to it. So with that, further ado, here on the Sports Report, number one cable sports show. A man that has done it all in the world of professional wrestling, with well over a decade and a half in the business, and including his own offspring, who's certainly doing his best to may or may not continue the family name. He is one of the founding members of one of the most legit professional wrestling companies around, and especially in the Northeast. His name is, simply put, Mike Money, 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 money. Money, 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 money. Everybody's got a price. My friend, how are we doing?
That's pretty good, Tom. I'm a little bit jealous. I think Courtney Wood got a better introduction than me, just saying.
I think you got a longer one, though. You got a longer one. I mean, you know.
Well, thank you. I greatly appreciate it. Hell of a vocal set of vocals you got there to be able to sustain that. I know I couldn't do that.
Yeah, I mean, well,
Uh,
my mother sings, you know, and at this point, you know, when you get advice from Doug Pinnick of King's X, who basically compared my voice to James Hetfield of Metallica's, I had Randy Jackson of Zebra, who basically kind of was like, and again, he was basically kind of a clone of Geddy Lee of Rush and Robert Plant of Led Zeppelin, kind of looked at me like, huh? At this point, if I don't do these intros the way I do them, well, at this point, I mean, maybe it's time to pack up and pass the baton to Courtney Wood or somebody else. I don't know.
I mean, that's your gimmick, man. You got it over. You got to stick with it, right? If it ain't broke, don't
Rhino
fix
and
it.
Savio Vega. Rhino said he felt like he was going to run through a wall. He never seen anything like it. And Savio Vega was definitely, he said he'd never seen anything like it. So, I mean, obviously, I have to do it. But, you know, I'm not here for that. You're not here for that. And it is an absolute honor, sir, to have you. So let's kick things off here. For those that are listening and watching in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the platform that you and legit alternative wrestling most certainly helped build here, Sportswire Radio. Talk about what can we expect less than 48 hours from now in the next legit alternative wrestling premium live event, Guilty by Association.
Well, Tom, if you show up to 325 7th Street in Parkersburg, West Virginia, beautiful downtown Parkersburg, West Virginia,
Absolutely.
on April 2nd at 6 p.m. when the doors open, you are in for something special. This is going to be the LAW Tag Team Tournament
Mm-hmm.
to determine the first LAW Tag Team champions. There's a lot of great tag teams from a lot of different places all over. I'm
Mm-hmm.
very interested to see how it goes down. Uh, Also, you're going to see El Shaddai and Godric Samuel finally.
I
It's been
have
announced
Godric
3
Stanwell
different.
here tomorrow night, just 24 hours or so
Yeah.
less than that before that main event, which
Yeah.
has been in the works for several months, about 2-3 months now.
I betting he's watching right now, and he's going
Yeah,
to be
he's here.
awful
He's
mad.
gonna, you know, I gotta be honest. This is gonna be the most excited I've ever been to have Godric on because I feel like, with all due respect to Godric, something that I'm like really invested in personally that he's a part of. I mean, I'm really excited to have him on here on Sportswire Radio tomorrow night because I got something that, you know, I think a lot of people are going to be excited for.
Well, and here's the thing: he's going to get mad at me for saying this. He always does. Godric Samuel, the gentleman of exquisite caliber, who, in my opinion, is the next LAW champion in less than 48 hours.
We'll
Uh,
find out. I'll tell you that much.
he will get mad at me for saying this, but Godric Samuel is the greatest wrestler in my locker room or any locker room that man is in. Any locker room. Doesn't matter. He's the best. That's just my personal opinion.
Well, I'll tell you what, in the Northeast, he's definitely pound for pound one of the best that I have here from this part of the country. And I'll definitely give you that. And he's got a tall hill to climb figuratively and literally in La El Shaddai. We've seen what La El Shaddai has done here, especially in legit alternative wrestling. And you seem to be sure that Godric is going to win the big one here finally. But the run that La El Shaddai has been on, and we've seen it on FUTV these last few episodes, and just this run he's had as champion here. I mean, it's gonna be a slobber knocker, as one announcer might used to say famously.
Yeah, Jim Ross, absolutely. And you know, it's gonna be a hell of a title match. I don't know if there's going to be a better match in LAW history. We have a short history. We just came into operation. Our first show was January 15th. The TV debuted on
Yep.
January 18th. Um, I think that these two men are going to redefine what what a wrestling match is in LAW. I think that these two men are going to go the distance and give it their all. Lael Shaddai is a different character. He's a
Yeah.
strange cat. I've known him for many, many years. Godric Samwell is one of my dearest friends.
Hmm.
I had my first match back with him whenever I came back from neck surgery that I had done. I was out for 3 years, and he was my first match back. Him and the guy by the name of the Blood Beast. Shout out to him. How you doing, pal? Uh, but yeah, I think that this match is going to be potentially match of the year for not only LAW but any company in the area.
For
I
sure.
think that it's something that the fans do not want to miss. If you're not familiar with either of these two men, I suggest you check them out and get caught up. Lael Shaddai, to my knowledge, has only really wrestled in LAW, so you can catch all his stuff
Yep.
on FUTV if you
Which
go
I'm
back
gonna
and look
put
it
the
up.
link up for that in a few minutes. So I'll put
Yeah,
that up on the
yeah.
screen so people will give a sub and check out what Law has to offer. Let me ask you though this question. I got a lot of different wrestlers here in and out of the chat. I have a lot of different people, whether they're in the underground circuit, the independent circuit, and you talked about a neck injury that you had that took you out of action for a while. You've been in it for a long time in this sport. Your son's obviously following in your footsteps. And what advice then would you have for anybody that's coming off an injury and how they return to the ring and just especially what you went through? What would you give advice wise to any wrestler coming off a serious injury like the one that you had, sir?
Well, here's the thing. I messed my neck up real bad outside of wrestling. It wasn't even in wrestling when it happened. I did it outside of the ring, and I had to have reconstructive neck surgery on my C4 to my C7.
Wow.
And I was told I was put back together by a fantastic doctor named Dr. Michael Ritigliano. He's worked on Pittsburgh Penguins, Pittsburgh Steelers,
Wow.
WWE guys. They gave me the best sports doctor I could have asked for,
Sure.
and he told me that he could clear me after I got through the surgery and got back in the rehabilitation, and I was in the gym 6 days a week
Wow.
trying to come back. And when he finally told me that it was over, he said, I'm sorry, Shane. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'm
we'll
sorry,
pretend we never
McMoney.
heard that. I do have a brother whose middle name is Shane, who my dad
uh,
named after a movie called Shane. So I'll say, if you did want to say hello to my brother Brian
uh,
Shane Bryce, we appreciate that very much. He's a wrestling
I
fan.
hate that movie. I hate that movie with a
Well, my
burning
dad
passion.
apparently he watched the
Uh,
movie and he decided that that's what he wanted. My mother was pregnant with my brother Brian. My mother, who I know is in band practice right now, is not watching this. My dad, who was alive at the time, he's dead now, but
yeah,
he's
mine
decided,
too.
that's okay. He decided that I'm gonna give the middle name, middle initial, middle name to my brother Brian Shane. That's what he said. He would tell people this all the time. I watched this movie Shane, and I'm gonna name him Brian Shane Bryce because
Oh my
we're
god.
Irish from Brooklyn, and very heavy Irish background, and he thought what more of an Irish name could be Brian Shane Bryce. My brother was Sean Patrick Bryce, and I'm the least of the Irish of the three because I'm Thomas Joseph, and all I'm friends with all Italians and Jewish people. So I'm the least of the Irish than the other two. But we'll pretend that you said hello to my brother Brian Shane Bryce. So you got to pass.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But I despise that movie. That little kid at the end. I tell you what, you want to get my blood boiled? You put
Yeah.
that little kid at the end yelling, Shane, Shane, come back, Shane, like upside his head
I'm
like
not a
that.
fan
Oh,
of it.
that's
I
funny.
haven't watched it, so by all means, feel free. But go ahead while we do a sub to Law. But
Yeah, I tell you what. But anyways, let's head back into the wrestling part of this.
yeah, but I mean, obviously,
So
you dealt with an injury, and it took you a while, and it was non-wrestling related.
Oh, yeah,
But
yeah, yeah. Thanks for bringing it back around for me. So to wrap that up, the surgeon told me, he's like, "You're never going to do this again." He goes, "I will clear you to do absolutely anything you want on this planet, but wrestle." And I said, "Why is that?" He goes, "Because it's the only thing you have a chance of getting dropped on your head." And I said, Well, so in reality, I got real depressed, and
Mm,
I felt like a shell of myself because it's all I ever wanted to do since I was 2 years old. You
sure.
know, it didn't matter.
That's true.
Um, and what happened was I an old friend of mine became a chiropractor, and I got back in touch with him. And his name's Dr. Tyler Nicholson, Nicholson Chiropractics and Wellness in Connellsville, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
He's also a sponsor of Legit Alternative Wrestling.
I did see
He
that.
has taken on the task of fixing our guys whenever they get messed up in our ring.
Okay.
So that's a really nice thing that we have going on with the sponsorship deal. And what happened was Tyler worked on me to a point where he was stretching my neck in ways that he said, you know, there's no way. And one day he said to me, he said, he goes, I know what the wrestling thing means to you. He said, and if I couldn't fish and float down the river, I wouldn't know what to do with myself. And he said, I know wrestling is to you what floating and fishing is to me. And I
Mm.
said, yeah. And he said, I'm going to clear you to go back. He goes, there's absolutely no way you can't handle it. And he was absolutely right. So here I am, 9 months later, and legit alternative wrestling is taking off.
Yeah, I
Uh,
heard about it a few months ago. I had Day on before all this stuff happened, and Day mentioned he was going to you guys on a Wednesday, and I had Godric, I think, like the week after, and I was like, what's this thing where these guys are going on a Wednesday to wrestle, which is, usually the thing is you wrestle Friday, Saturday, and, overseas you get a Sunday afternoon company. So it's usually those are your 3 days. And it was a Wednesday, and it was kind of this thing. You had some big names that I've covered before. Mickey Knuckles, I know her from POR.
I love
Pepper,
her.
Pepper Pride, I know from the man I interviewed, Rhino. Pepper Pride has been in his new company, the IWR, Insane Wrestling Revolution. So you have a lot of people that I know from other places. I mean, so that's kind of what a small world wrestling is. And here you are, and you're on this platform. So, what are the goals then for legit alternative wrestling here?
Oh man, you're asking me what the goals are for LAW. Well,
Yep.
okay, thank you for asking that question. I'm going to state right here on your show, this is the first time I've said this publicly. I've said this behind closed doors to a number of good friends. Uh, the ultimate end of the day goal for legit alternative wrestling, in my mind, and I'm not speaking on any other council member's behalf here, full time wrestling territory.
All right.
I want to be on the road 3 or 4 days a week. I want to be able to pay these guys and girls what they're making working in a factory or working at a restaurant or doing whatever. I want to say, hey, come wrestle for me. I'll pay you that wage a week. We're on the road 3 or 4 days a week. Because you know
Sure.
what? I feel that the talent in my company, Legit Alternative Wrestling, is the most talented and the most, some of them, underrated in the area. And I feel like these guys and girls deserve something like that to go out and say, I can do this full time. This is what I do.
Well, I'll tell you what, there's no question you have a lot of talented wrestlers. And what I do want to do is before I get into current events, hit the sub button for legit alternative wrestling. We're going to put the YouTube link.
Yes,
I want to talk
please.
about the most recent episode coming up. So definitely please go out there and support legit alternative wrestling. We are very honored here to have on Mr. Michael McMoney. He is a council member. We've been talking law a lot the last few weeks. Courtney's been here a few times. Obviously, Godric is here tomorrow. Dave Jameson was here once upon a time, and he's definitely always got something to say, and he'll definitely be brought up in a little while. But until then, we are here with the one and only Mr. Michael McMoney. Now, I did want to talk about Pepper Pride here for a few minutes. I want to talk about Mickey Knuckles and Pepper Pride because I know I brought them up with Courtney, and I've watched Mickey Knuckles wrestle outside of law. I've said this to many people before. I showed her match in POR, which is home to the likes of Tarzan Duran and the man that she wrestled in Jesse Daniels, and a man that is quite an accomplished wrestler, and a slew of some of your other favorites have been there. Jimmy Controversy, Necro Butcher, POR is definitely one of those places to be. I don't even know how Necro Butcher is still standing, let alone wrestling, but I'll ask you about that in a different time. But Mickey Knuckles,
Necro
I mean,
Butcher,
yeah.
the Necro Butcher is my mentor.
Oh, really?
He's like a father. He's like a father figure to me.
Yeah, Jimmy
The man,
Controversy is a big supporter of mine, very good friend. I've had him on like countless times. That's his like sign of the
me
cross.
too.
Yep.
Me too. Me
Yeah.
too.
Awesome.
I owe everything that I've done in wrestling of substance. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Of course, the little indie shows and stuff, but
Sure.
everything I've done of substance, I owe to the Necro Butcher. He
Wow.
saw something in a kid, and he took me under his wing. And till this day, I'm very close to him. I love him to death. He's the closest
Awesome.
thing I have to a father.
Okay. Well, you know what? Obviously, a small world there, but Mickey Knuckles has been in, POR, and you have her here, and
Yes.
you talk about premier talents. You want to talk about talents that are well known, on my platform. I mean, you ain't stepping in the ring with Mickey Knuckles anytime soon.
She's a wonderful person.
Yep.
She kicked my ass if I said that to her face. But no, no, she's, and we're talking. And whenever you talk to people about deathmatch wrestling, okay,
Yep.
whenever you talk to people about the modern era of hardcore wrestling,
For sure.
the Necro Butcher and Mickey Knuckles, the
Absolutely. I agree with that.
grandfather and grandmother, so to speak, of deathmatch wrestling. They are the two hardest hitting. They are the two most accomplished, honestly. I mean, let's look at Mickey Knuckles' career. Put it up against anybody else in deathmatch wrestling today. You
Yeah,
know
oh,
what I mean?
absolutely, absolutely, and I've had on a lot of
Uh,
deathmatch wrestlers. I had Jesse Daniels. I watched his match with Mickey Knuckles here. I believe I actually I was like the first person to have watched it. He showed me, he's like, nobody else has watched it. I know you. I like you. We'll watch it together. So, I mean, Mickey, I have a lot of respect for, in the fact that she actually allowed us to watch that match here on this platform for sure. So
that's
definitely,
cool.
you
That's
know,
really cool.
tough as nails, and she's in your company.
Yeah, yeah. It's crazy to think like I'm literally living in the moment, if that makes sense to you. I'm not trying to put too much thought into it. Um, I don't know how we got to where we are as fast as we did. And that's the honest to God's truth. I was there for the beginning, you said it, of RWA.
Yep.
And they didn't take off as quick as LAW did, and they're
No.
still here almost 20 years later. You know what I mean? So I have a lot of high hopes for this. It baffles me. I'm standing in the locker room looking around, and I'm one of the people in charge of running the show. And I see Mickey Knuckles and I see Soul Taker, and Necro Butcher came in for me. And you know, it's wild to me. And then to see this crop of talent, like you said, you want to talk about Pepper Pride a little bit. Let's
Pepper
talk
Pride.
about Pepper Pride. Okay. Pepper Pride is one of the premier talents in all of independent wrestling today.
For sure. Oh, Rhino,
And
is mentored Pepper Pride. I've spoken to
yeah,
Pepper Pride off the air. What does that tell you in itself?
yes, yes. Uh, Pepper is a very well spoken, well educated woman.
Hmm.
Pepper is a kick ass professional wrestler.
I
Like
She wrestled
there's no
Godric
doubt.
Sanwell.
Um, Pepper Pride wrestled Brohemoth, and
Yes.
you could catch that on this past week's episode of
Yep.
FUTV.
Yep.
Here's a little behind the scenes look at that. I wanted to pull Pepper Pride from that match. Why are you asking?
Why? Yeah.
It is of my opinion, and I don't know if she ever got it looked at or not, but I've been around, I've seen injuries, I know what things are. It is of my opinion, she had a separated shoulder.
Hmm.
And the night before the match, I tried to pull her and talk her out of it, and she refused. And lo and behold, she goes out with a separated shoulder and has one of the best matches we've ever had in legit alternative wrestling.
That shows you the kind of character that she has, and it shows you that that's her learning tree is from, IWR, which is Insane Wrestling Revolution. That's Rhino's company. It shows you how much that she brings to the table. And it goes back to what you've put here, Mr. McMoney. You've definitely put a roster together that everybody brings something to the table. You talk about Godric, you talk about Again, Pepper Pride, Mickey Knuckles, obviously La El Shaddai, your champion. You talked about the slew of other names we're going to get to shortly and such.
You didn't mention the youth movement.
Well, I was going to get to that in a few minutes if you're going to give me the chance. I mean, obviously,
Go ahead. Yeah, it's your show, sir.
I'm
You
sure,
go ahead.
I would love for somebody to take over for me, but I mean, since you want to, I mean, obviously there is a youth movement. Then there's a second McMoney out there. And obviously the son is following in the family's business and the family footsteps. And obviously, what do you want to say or talk about when it comes to Michael McMoney, the second? Yes, the second coming. And let's talk about that youth movement.
Three words or three phrases, rather, come to mind when you talk about Michael McMoney II.
Hmm.
Mystifying, hypnotizing, death-defying.
Well, that's
Those are the
definitely great vocabulary there. You have a good vocabulary
yes.
there.
Godric Samwell and I are good friends. What can I say?
Well, yeah, I'm gonna hear it, from him tomorrow. He's gonna give me all the
Yeah.
stuff in the English language there for sure tomorrow.
Salutations, Nephilims and
Yeah,
Cambions,
I've
and
known
yada
him, for a
yada.
while, so I know the deal there.
um,
But your son is obviously, he's following your footsteps. He's a different type of wrestler than you are, but he's obviously got a lot going for him, and it's got to be, in the character or not, it's got to be exciting for you to see that he's following in your footsteps and moving up the ladder, and he's a huge part of this company.
I'm honest to God, I'm the happiest I am in my life when I'm sitting in the back and I'm watching the monitor because we have a live feed to what goes on in the ring,
Hmm.
and everybody surrounds the screen and watches and stuff. Whenever I'm watching Michael McMoney II, and whenever I'm watching Day Jameson, a kid that is like a son to me.
I know Jay
I could,
Jameson very well. Yeah, I'm gonna get to him
I,
eventually. Him I know
yeah,
very
but
well.
when I'm watching these boys and Dan and Tafua,
Daniel Tapua, yes, another guy
whenever I'm watching these boys in the ring,
who wrestled on this
I'm
past
the
episode, by the
happiest.
way. Mhm.
I'm the happiest I am in my entire life because those kids are doing well. And Michael McMoney II is a brash young man.
Yeah, he's
He's
not.
very obnoxious. He's very arrogant, and he'll tell you just how good he is because he's just like
Well,
his
that's
old
why I
man. That's
said
how
he's
I was
almost
once upon a
a
time.
different, he's a different personality than you. And we're here with, of course, the council member of Legit Alternative Wrestling, Mr. Michael McMoney. We are less than 48 hours away from the next show Legit Alternative Wrestling has to offer, Guilty by Association. And the most recent episode of FUTV, episode number 11, is out now. It is on the Legit Alternative Wrestling YouTube page. Give them a sub. They are also on Facebook with over 1,500 followers. They are on Instagram as well. And I also have something for the company in a little while. We are here
Oh,
with, of course, Mr. McMoney. And my name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice, figuratively and literally, where all wrestling minds. But yeah, Daniel Tafu is another name I know very well. I know him from another promotion. And he had quite a match this past week as well. And, he was in there with the Soul Taker and another guy that I've seen other places. And yeah, what a fascinating roster you have. And Daniel Tafua, a man that, a guy that definitely maybe not thinks with his heart, but rather his head, I guess.
yeah. Tafua is again. He adopted me in as his wrestling dad. I consider him like a son to me as well. Uh, the kid has a heart of gold, and sometimes I don't think sometimes he thinks it through.
Yeah.
And one day he's going to, and when he does, he's going to be the most dangerous boy on the block. You heard it here first.
Well, I
Uh,
mean, he went in there with a man that is been
yeah.
around a long time, and Mr. Sandwell and I spoke about last time Mr. Sandwell was here because he and in another promotion they tag team together. So
Ooh.
obviously, yeah, that was quite a feat. But the Soul Taker does the weather there. I see he does the weather there. Maybe he's got a second career.
Yeah. I take it you saw that. I saw
I
that
did.
and
I did.
I couldn't believe it. I had to share it. I'm like, "Oh my God, this is fantastic." He's like, "This is the Soul Taker at Channel 4." I'm like, "Oh my God." Yeah, that was That was wonderful. I don't know too much about the behind the scenes or the details of that. All I know is that I saw it and found it
Well,
hilarious for
great.
some
It's great
reason.
promotion for you guys that he got to do that, and
Yes,
that-
yes.
what a way to sell some tickets. Get that every show. You never know. Well, we just had on a pro wrestler from Arizona, Ramrock, and they did a show, and after coming on here, they were in front of 500 people. So you never know. The clips took off, and they sold actually like I think like 30 or 40 tickets. They got 30 or 40 extra tickets off coming on here. So I don't know if it'll be
Oh,
as well, for Wednesday. Let's hope, but you just never know out there. But yeah, Tafu is a big guy, but the Soul Taker has been around a long time, and he's definitely not going down lightly.
no, not at all. And you said earlier about the Wednesday thing. Most shows run on a Friday, Saturday, even the Sunday. The reason that we do Wednesdays is so we can have a diverse roster.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
if we did it on a Saturday, everybody would be booked out everywhere else. We wouldn't be
Yeah,
able to have near, you know what I mean? That was one of the thought processes going into the start of
that's a
this.
smart move. I mean, I know Rhino when they do their shows, it's a Thursday, which is he talked
Yeah.
about it when he was here a couple months ago. I could see that. It's a clever, Wednesday's clever. I mean, it's nobody there. You people can work if they work a Wednesday show can work the weekend. It reminds me
Right.
almost when I played basketball as a kid. My coaches would always schedule practice on Wednesdays, and you'd say, "Well, why would you schedule a practice on a Wednesday at like 5 o'clock?" Well, it's because we wouldn't have a game until Saturday, or maybe a Sunday afternoon, and it gave us a chance to practice as a team for a couple of hours. And it's the same in a way kind of mindset. You get some of the very best talent on a Wednesday because they aren't booked and they can come out to you, and it's quite an experience, and that's why you get some of the best, and you can watch all of this here on the Law YouTube channel. So there you go, but exciting,
Look at
exciting.
this kid. Look at this kid going toe to toe with the Soul Taker. How about that?
He's definitely trying. He's definitely trying. This is a man that has been accomplished a long time, and he's hanging in there. He's definitely giving him a run for his money. Got to give him that much. I mean, so you know, it. But the Soul Taker is just, he takes souls, and he apparently does the weather pretty good too. So
Absolutely.
Oh, all right. Well, you know what? I like to get to my chat because I want to talk about something else that you're a part of, which is a company called the West Virginia Wrestling Federation. I want to promote that, and I want to segue, of
Mm.
course, into Courtney Wood. But let me take this off the screen for now. We'll take this off. I want to get to my chat because I'm a little different than most shows. I have a chat that's here, and I let people join the conversation. So let's do that now first. Speaking of people from West Virginia and Appalachia, my buddy who's here Friday, Mr. Nathaniel Rage. The devil is here. I don't know how far he is from you guys, but maybe if he wants to show up, he should definitely go. It's only $10 for a ticket, so go out there and check it out. And I was basically saying hello. My buddy from New Orleans, Louisiana, Mr. Remy Roberts, the Cajun Cruiser is in the house. How you doing, Remy? Thank you so much. And this
A
young
good
lady,
name. I like that. The
Remy's
Cajun
got, you know
Cruiser. I
what?
like that. I
He's a
like that.
pro wrestler. He's got some passion. He's still learning. I think he's got some heart. He's just got to, get the right, win, get the right moment. But he's definitely working his way up the ladder. And I like to support all people because I'm all wrestling matters. But this young lady who's definitely doing a lot of big things for you, she's your basically female version of Dave Meltzer and Wade Keller. And she does pre-show interview stuff for you on Facebook. And she's also featured in, some little website, Slam Wrestling, which used to feature Bret Hart's old
Yes.
articles. Yeah, when I told her that on Facebook, she's like, "Wow, you knew that?" As if like she thought I knew nothing about anything. But I'm like, "No, no, no. I have a background in news. I'm actually Wednesday nights. I'm back doing news. So my background is certainly eclectic, is my mutton chops. But this young lady has been, quite a talent. She should probably be the person to take over for me. We have more legitimacy here. We'd be more legit on Sportswire. I get it, but yeah, talk about this young lady and what she brings to the table for you guys, and all her coverage for you.
Well, Courtney Wood is the best at what she does, period. I don't care who you are. I know I say that a lot on here about a lot of the guys and girls that we've talked about, but
Hmm.
facts are facts. Courtney Wood, when she told me that she got an article on Slam Wrestling, The girl didn't realize how big of a deal it was.
You know
And
what? She sent me the link, and I looked at it. I was on the train, and she in beautiful Brooklyn, and my home communities, and I'm sitting on the train. I'm waiting for the train to move. I'm in Sheepshead Bay, and I looked at the article, and I'm like, wait a minute, I know this is the article from a website that Bret Hart famously wrote for, and she didn't
yes.
even know it. She was like, really? I'm like, no, that's it, young lady. That's Slam Wrestling. It's
Um
pretty cool.
when she told me and I clicked the article, I'd be lying to you if I told you I didn't cry.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I cried for her because that girl has been through a lot, man, and she definitely deserves it. If there's anybody on this planet that deserves a spot on Slam Wrestling or Pro Wrestling Illustrated. Yeah, if you're out there listening, Pro Wrestling Illustrated, Courtney Wood, hire her. Do us all a favor.
We
Yeah,
talked about we talked about I talked about the PWI with her. I did. I brought it up. You know,
yeah. I'm
but
kind of
there
tearing
you
up
go.
now
Yeah,
thinking
that's
about it because that
well.
girl
Don't
was a
cry on
very
my
accomplished
platform.
young
I've
lady.
had I rattled off the names that have been on here, and I have more big names coming. So please don't cry on my platform. But do me a favor instead.
Uh,
Check out the interview. Yeah, check out the interview. But it's quite an article, and congratulations to Courtney. And yeah, it's a great honor, even though she didn't like the documentary much. But check it out. It's got a lot of coverage, and she's been doing a lot of great things. She also runs a group on Facebook, the Ultimate Wrestling Fan Club. So congratulations there, Courtney.
yes.
So let's come back. I want to talk about the WVWF in a few minutes. Let me get through my chat, so I can do that. Thank you, Zilla. Zilla's my resident chat expert. She's our super fan. Thank you, Zilla. Judo Jones is in the house, and we're going to talk about
Oh, it's
judo.
Judo
Yeah,
Jones. All right,
Judo Jones is
Judo
here.
Jones.
A legendary Judo Jones
I
is here.
tell you what.
Legend. Tell me what.
I
Tell me
tell
what.
you what. Me and Judo Jones had a disagreement a few months back, and it wound up in a series of matches.
Yeah,
That's one tough customer there, and I'm telling you what, I've never been chopped so hard in my life. The man's a legitimate. The man's a
I believe it.
legitimate karate and judo expert. Like that's not a
I
gimmick.
believe. No, I believe it. No, I've seen some of the stuff. I looked it up, and I definitely can see that. And I'm not getting on his bad side, but I'm going to say thank you very much for tuning into
No.
Sportswire Radio. We appreciate that. Yes, judo. Yes, in caps locks. Thank you, Courtney, for doing that. Hello, 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 hello. What we were waiting for is the IMF champion. I was behind. We were doing some sound checks. That's Omen Black, another guy that would fit well into your company. He's in Iowa, though. Might
Yeah.
be yeah, he's the
Hmm.
IMF champion. He's a very big guy. He's got a guy with him, Reverend Solomon. They're the House of Wolves, and they I don't know, maybe that could be something for you guys down the road. He's the boogeyman of the Midwest. He's a hardcore god. He's definitely good in death matches. He's been in there with the likes of Damian Saint. He's been in there, with some pretty heavy hitters where he lives and his company. They sell about 150 tickets a pop for their shows. They have a nice little following, and you never know. I mean, just throwing it out there. He's the boogeyman.
Well, I will say this, Mr. Omen Black.
Something
If
like
Tom Brace is giving you a vote of approval and a vote of confidence, you may find your way into the legit alternative wrestling DMs at any time, and we'll talk business.
I'll make it easier. I'll send him your info so that way he'll
That'll
message.
work.
Now, Wyatt Black is a man I know that you do not think too highly of, and Mrs. Wood obviously has had her own issues there with that, and want to talk about it for a minute or two.
Yeah, you know what? Wyatt Black has a bright future in wrestling if if he could get out from underneath Michael McMoney II. And what I mean by that is the kid's holding himself back. You see, whenever I made my return from my broken neck, my kids came with me for obvious reasons.
Sure.
Well, little did I know or Michael McMoney II, my apologies. Michael McMoney II has been working on some things behind my back in the
Mm.
yard that I didn't realize. And when he got in that ring, he started walking the top rope like Hakushi, doing these crazy feats. He says to me on the way down to a show, "Hey, you know what I'm going to do when I get there?" I said, "What?" He goes, "I'm going to do a triple jump moonsault like Sabu." I said, "You are not." I said, "Yeah, if you do that, I retire." We got to the building. He got in the ring, grabbed the chair, and he did it. And I was like, wow. Why Black has a problem
Yeah.
because he was looked at as the golden child. He was looked at
Yeah.
as the next big thing in West Virginia. He was going to be the future. And all of a sudden, here comes Michael McMoney II in the door. And he didn't like it because all the attention turned in an instant. All the veterans took Michael McMoney II and said, "Oh my God, you're McMoney's kid. You come with me. I'm going to teach you this, teach you that."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
everybody did it. Everybody,
Well, it's
everybody.
the last name. It's,
Um,
a common thing in anything in life. Last name,
I
and people
mean,
go with that.
but people kind of were like, "Oh, McMoney's kid," and then they saw him in the ring, and they're like, "That's McMoney's kid." And everybody started like, "Hey, let's talk. Let's see if we
Yeah.
can help you out because he's still really young,
Yeah, yeah, I
Uh,
know that. I
but
know.
but then why Black started taking shots at the kid in real life on social media,
Yep.
in the locker room. He'd be making snide remarks as he walked past them and stuff. And I caught it. And McMoney II caught it, but McMoney II tried to keep it professional. Then
Mm.
whenever we got legit alternative wrestling up and running, and we realized that these kids were the future and that we needed to have somebody to get ready for,
Yeah.
you know, and we're not going to be able to use, I hate to say it, God, I hope they go on forever, but people like Mickey Knuckles and the Soul Taker and the
Yeah.
Necro Butcher aren't going to be wrestling forever. So,
Yeah.
so I wanted to get a jump on the youth movement, as I called it.
Yep.
And I told these two boys, I said, here it is. Here it is. You have a problem with each other. I have a camera. I have a ring. Let's settle it. Let's put it out there. You want to take shots on social media? You know what the funny thing is? I noticed these boys taking shots at each other on social media was getting more following and more coverage than the matches that they were posting.
You know what? I've been doing this for 6.5 years, and I can tell you that I've seen plenty of it here on my platform, and I've seen it with UK wrestlers, underground, indie, pro, and people like, water cooler talk, and people like that back and forth banter, and they've definitely got a part of that, and we'll definitely talk more of that. Let me move on to the chat. Let's go on here, get to some more comments. Obviously, somebody is not a fan of you.
Cynthia Aber, McMoney sucks.
Yeah.
Well, you can please some of the people some of the time, but you can't please all the people all the time. I'm betting you're probably like a Pav Novak like rat or something like that,
Ah,
Cynthia. So
rat.
it's okay.
Okay, I'm gonna leave that at that. I'm gonna certainly leave that at that. And I've been doing this. I would say out of like 500 shows in 400 days. So people were like having convulsions yesterday because people asked me, well, "Why weren't you on yet?" A girl I talked to said, "Well, why weren't you on yet?" I said, "Well, my guests got mixed up with the times. I did, and I didn't show up. Then I fell asleep, took a nap. My
Tom,
buddy,
you have my permission to blame it on me any place, anytime. Everybody
no,
else does it
no,
anyway,
no,
so it
stop
doesn't
it.
really
Let's
matter.
move on. That's not true. My buddy Silas Walker from your home state wanted to say, does McMoney get his money from McDonald's and butchered it the first time? Do you know Silas at all? He's from your hometown, I think, or your state. I think he's in your area nearby. Maybe you know each other. I don't know. But he does say hello.
Never heard of him.
Well,
Silas Walker.
Silas, he's the
Hmm.
legendary Silas Walker. Yes, he's an interesting fellow. This clearly isn't neurospicy friendly. Okay. Thank you, I think. And you were right. Godric is here. Godric will be here tomorrow at 9 o'clock. I'm looking forward to seeing God.
Finally, somebody with some intelligence that knows how to talk to somebody.
Well,
All
Godric's
right,
I've
Godric
had Godric.
Samwell. Okay,
Godric's here
okay.
every month. I've had him on, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like the fifth or sixth month in a row he's been on here. He's a
My my
regular.
my goodness, I'm starting to think that the previous 4 or 5 comments we saw was Pav Novak from different accounts.
Nah, well, I do have other people who have done that on other shows. I don't think this one here. The man that I'm wearing a shirt of would like to say, where can we get a great shirt like that, Tom? That's a great question. I don't know. But he would say, well, for $20 that you can get a shirt like his for most sizes available. You just pay shipping and handling, and there's no limit to how many you can order. Great question. Well, apparently somebody who does he hosts Jeopardy trivia, so that's why he's a
Okay.
DJ. Some people compared him to David Spade. Others people say Kyle Reese from Terminator. He does wrestle in his own free time, and yes, he's a Jeopardy trivia host. I kid you not, and he's a DJ also at a bar. but his name's Justin Parsley, and he's the hall monitor of Sportswire Radio. Godric is definitely one of the best in the Northeast scene. I completely agree. And if you want to check out Law, there is an Instagram page also where you can get the promo poster and some other things as well. McMoney, you're doing great now. Grow your beard back.
Sorry, Courtney. No can do. The beard was there for quite a while, and I decided I needed a change. I needed to freshen up.
Well, I'll tell
So
you what. I was offered once. People actually offered to pay. I don't need the money. Actually, I'm fortunate, but somebody actually offered me money to shave my mutton chops. Like, nah, I'm good. I don't need the money. What they offered me
no,
is like
no.
lunch money. Yeah. No, I can't
I
because
mean,
I'm so known. I was out today in my home community, and somebody stopped me in the street. It was funny. It was an Orthodox Jewish guy because I know a lot of people. And he said, I always wondered, is this real? Because, in the Orthodox Jewish faith, they have it, but it's your chin.
yeah.
And I said, yeah, does it look fake? Then he laughed and said, no. And he walked away. So, but I can't do it, even though it certainly is my calling card, but I'll leave that at that. I'm humbled by those remarks, but I'm merely a servant of the sentient and working until I can no more to be the best. Tomorrow, 9 o'clock. Tune in. Beardless, he looks a little like Novak's Aunt Bubby.
Oh, that
Okay.
is. Oh my God. I know who that is. I know who you are. I know who you are, Cynthia. Cynthia, I have a proposition for you. I've
Uh-oh.
been meaning to speak with you. Nobody knows that worthless bum Novak better than Cynthia. I promise you that.
Well,
Cynthia, Cynthia, I will pay you to go on my camera on my TV show, FUTV, and tell the world about what Pav Novak really is. I'll pay you, Cynthia, to go on my show and let the world know about the real Pav Novak. Think
well, I
about
mean,
it. Just think about it.
well, I'm gonna say Cynthia. I only see Cynthia here. I'm not going into any further details.
I
Michael
know who
McMahon.
Cynthia is now.
Well, I'm going to leave that at that. Michael McMoney, hope we're all having a good McNight as we turn into this McStream and enjoy the McMarketing that comes with appearing on sports. Well, you have a big crowd. You have a lot of people here. So I think it was good actually. I took off yesterday because now people were like wondering where was I, and now they're ready to talk. So there you go. Hi, is Silas Walker. Also, YouTube, once again, hit the sub button for Law. Okay, thank you for Omen. Also, of course, a broken neck wasn't going to keep you from getting back in the ring. Yeah, that's true. That's a job I'd love, full-time wrestling. Well, you never know. You never know. Yeah, Courtney, only Pav Novak can do that. And there you go. Let's see here. I'm gonna get to him. But give me about 10 minutes. I'm gonna get to that man. Give me about 10 minutes. I want to talk about something else with you before I transition. Before I transition into that, I'm going to give you about 10 minutes. I want to get through the rest of the chat here. But I will, for a minute, agree with him and break the fourth wall. Pepper Pride is definitely a top 10 indie talent. And yeah, but I'll get to that, though. That I do agree. Yep, emojis. McMoney the second is the future, fearless and super talented. He's no Wyatt Black. Obviously, somebody's testing you. Me too. I cry every time McMoney the second is there. Well, Courtney, I'm going to get to that. Courtney really has to keep her journalistic integrity. She has to keep it, but otherwise she won't go to the PWI magazine and cover it. We're going to get there. I promise you, we're going to get there.
Back to that previous comment. Roll
We're gonna
back
get.
that
I'm
previous
gonna get
comment
to.
for you.
I'm gonna get
Okay.
there. I'm gonna get there, though. I am gonna get there. I'm gonna get there.
Oh,
But I want to talk about the West Virginia Wrestling Federation first after I finish my chat. I got
okay.
about 7 or 8
Okay.
more comments to go. Yep.
We're fine.
Okay. Daniel Tafua, who's the only man listed twice in the Kings and Queens monthly rankings. The Kings and Queens, we spoke about that. Day's been a lot of your talent
Yes.
are represented
Yes.
in Kings and Queens magazine. It's a fine publication. I've spoke a lot about it from places like Pro Wrestling Cheap Shots. I've spoke about it with places like wrestling. So plenty of places I know a lot about. Amplified, Enterprise Wrestling, Pro Wrestling Double X. And we're going to get there. If you want to follow and read Courtney's magazine article, please check that out at Slam Wrestling. Obviously, somebody might be trying to say that, yeah.
Hey, Simon. That's my 9-year-old kid, Simon, everybody. Little known fact,
Yes.
Simon's actually training under Dave Jameson a little bit whenever he gets an opportunity. It's not too often, but once or twice a month. He's
Mhm.
9 years old. He's getting in the ring with Dave Jameson. Dave Jameson's working with him. He's going to be the future here, you know, down the line.
I
Down the
listen.
line.
I've had a lot of UK wrestlers on, and some of them were training at like 12 and 13, so not out of the ordinary. And yeah, McMoney is built different. I want to say hello to my buddy, the host of the Dark Chronicles, of the legend, Mr. Darkron, who was here on Saturday. He'd like to say evening. Hope you're enjoying the show. A lot of people are excited. Grow the beard back. Grow the beard back. So you might have to get some requests.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We will start a GoFundMe for you to spill on Pav Novak. We'll see. McMoney is there to bring
What?
Steve home today, Jameson. All right, but you know what? I've got everybody out of the way, and we're here on Sportswire Radio with Mr. Michael McMoney. Of course, he is a council member for Legit Alternative Wrestling. Their next show here is coming up in less than 48 hours. The Go Home show to Guilty by Association is also up. FUTV episode 11. Check that out. Hit the sub button for them. Please do it. Please support those who support us. And you know what? I do have something for you before I transition, before I make the hockey line change, transition, and then come back to the last topic or two, which is that tag team tournament. But I think now is the right time to give you, on behalf of Legit Alternative Wrestling, only if you want me to share my screen. I'd like to give the company something. You guys have been so supportive. You're coming on here, sharing your clips. I owe that to obviously Day and Godric. They came on here months ago and talked about this company, and they mentioned names like, wait a minute, I know these names. And then, Pepper Pride, who I know, from IWR. She's friends with James Fury, another guy that I know very well. I don't know how well familiar you are with James Fury, but I'm friends with a
Hmm,
promoter in California, and James has traveled. He
okay.
was an extra in MLW, and yada, yada, yada.
Ooh,
But let me give you this on behalf of your wonderful company, because on behalf of all Sports Wire radio platforms on this date, it is Legit Alternative Wrestling Day here on all Sports Wire radio platforms. I could say that again here. Congratulations. And we are definitely too legit for Legit Alternative Wrestling. Boy, you guys must be sick and tired of hearing that line, but I am definitely not sick of praising Legit Alternative Wrestling. And congratulations, sir, and to the rest of the locker room and your company. You've built a really fun, an exciting company over the past few months. And it's not too often that I get excited about independent wrestling companies these days. I've done this for a long time. I know, some companies and how they present themselves, but you guys definitely present it in a way that is very similar to some of my underground companies that come on here. Also, a company I do work with in Arizona, Thunder Mountain Wrestling. They're probably more on the less edgy side because it's family friendly, but by and large, you guys have definitely become a favorite of mine in a short amount of time, and wanted
thank
to
you.
give the company something here. So congratulations.
Oh my God. Thank you so much. I don't know what to say about this.
I'll just give you the physical copy when we're off the air. You'll say thank you. It's a great honor, and
Yeah,
you'll hang
yeah.
it up, I'm
Thank you.
sure, with the rest of the stuff you got. That's what you'll do.
I just want to say thank you on behalf of all of all the people that are working for us. This to me is a big deal. Thank you, everybody that works for Legit Alternative Wrestling. Doesn't matter if they're on the council members or all the way down to the concession stands. Uh, Everybody believes in the vision. Everybody believes in what we are and what we represent ourselves to be. And just this is for all of them. Uh, Tom, thank you so much. And everybody, if you're watching rather live or you're going to watch this later on, if you work for us, this is for you. And thank you so much for your help and your support and your time, energy, and effort and believing in what we do. Thank
And I'll
you.
tell you what, I'm going to make another announcement here. You guys have a show, I imagine, next month. And, for next month's show, I'm going to
April
donate.
30th.
Okay, so close enough. Well, it's basically a month from now. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do for next month. Actually, it is next month. I was right. It's March 31st. Hello, I was right. I was right. Trust me.
You got me. You
I'm
got
not I'm
me.
not Godric Sandwell, but I know enough. I'm an elected official actually in real life. I actually have a ceremonial position, so I know my way around. But I will
Good.
say this: for the next show, April 30th, I will donate one ticket. So if somebody wants to go out and watch the show, $10. You want to go to Parkersburg, West Virginia, you're in the area, you don't have $10 on you, I'll spot you. You go watch the show, have a good time, watch these guys and gals do what they do. And I will definitely take care of all of you. And I will donate one ticket to the next show. And in fact, every show you got after that, I will donate one ticket. So you guys can all have a great time and watch.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm a generous man, trust me, I'm a generous man. I always joke that I have a family member or two that's hoping that I do actually to one of the comments does have a stroke on the air, because then they could fight over the inheritance. But in the meantime, you'll get $10 from it. So how about that? But let's
Thank you.
go back. Yeah, well, and thank you, Mr. Titan. I'm going to get to you in a few minutes. But before I get to where I think it'll get interesting, really interesting, to get to the end of the show, the West Virginia Wrestling Federation, sir, is a company that you have had a lot of history with. You were champion there for 4 years. You guys have a show coming up here this Saturday. Courtney and I were speaking about it. And, sir, I was wondering if you wanted to talk about that for a few minutes. I can definitely put that poster up and maybe share what's on your mind about a company that you were on top for 4 years in the West Virginia Wrestling Federation show here coming up this coming Saturday.
Well, you see, WVWF is a little bit of a sore subject for me right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, I am legitimately one of the greatest of all time that's ever been in WVWF, EA. You want to date back to when it was NWA Tri-State, before
Yep.
my time.
Mm-hmm.
I am without a doubt one of the greatest that ever wrestled for WVWF. I held the belt for 4 solid years. Now, along with that, I did things my way, right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do things Wildcats way. I didn't do things the company way. I did things my way.
Mm-hmm.
And I angered a lot of people at that time. I used to cause riots for, like, people would riot us, would riot me. Okay. Now, whenever I broke my neck and I went away, I come back and I was in the locker room, ready to go to the ring. And Wildcat's there. Wildcat is an old mentor and rival, both. I've fought him to the death, and he showed me how to be a better person as a result of it, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah, I gotcha. I
So,
gotcha.
so Wildcat says to me before I go to the ring, I said to him, Wildcat, this might be it. I said, if I get out there and I can't do what I used to do, this is it. And he said, well, he said, regardless, the people are going to cheer you. He said, they've been waiting for you to come back.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, you're kidding me. They're not going to cheer me. Are you serious? He knew what he was talking about. I'll give him that. My music hit and people started cheering because my music is synonymous with me in Parkersburg, West Virginia, and surrounding
Well,
areas.
that building
Synonymous.
is, certainly a place that you're very familiar in.
Yeah, yeah. So I go out to all these cheers. I don't know how to react to it because I've never had that before.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a hard time with it. It was something kept telling me not to trust it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, time went on. Brutal Ben Metal attempted to break my
We
neck
spoke
again.
about it. Yeah, we spoke about him with Courtney. Yep.
Yep. He attempted to re-break my neck. The crowd stayed with me. They stayed behind me. And the last couple months, though, something something hasn't been right. You see, just
Mm-hmm.
as I got comfortable with those people cheering me, I got comfortable. I actually accepted it. For the first
Mm-hmm.
time in my whole career, I started signing autographs. I went out and mingled, talked to the people, thanked them for being there, told Parkersburg how much I loved them after every match. Like I started, like the little kids would come up to me and I would, be nice to them. People that are adults or, even some teenagers will come up to me. Oh my God, I remember seeing you wrestle with so and so whenever I was a kid. You were the best. And it's like, okay. But then the last couple months, something strange has happened.
Mm-hmm.
They quit cheering me. And I can't
Mm.
figure it out. I come out to the ring, there's no reaction. There's
Mm.
no
That's
more cheers.
that's not good. That's not good.
Now, why is it that whenever I got comfortable with you people, cheering me. And I finally accepted you into my life as I thought you accepted me into yours. Why did it stop? What did I do? I played by the rules. I didn't choke nobody. I didn't rake nobody's eyes. I didn't do nothing dastardly or dirty. But you quit cheering for me. The hell with you people. There's only a small percentage of you that cross over to LAW, and the ones that are, they're smart enough to know who and what I am, and they pay to come see me anyways.
Mm.
But those of you there that quit cheering me and turned on me, maybe I'll start being, what some would call the old me.
Mm.
Because truth be told, I did get pinned in that 10-man tag between the Syndicate and Genophage.
Yep.
I haven't exactly been on a winning ways. Ben Metal and I had a match that ended in both of us not able to respond to the 10 count. Maybe I'm not doing things right. Maybe if I want to be successful again, I have to start doing things the way I do them.
Mm.
Breaking the eyes, a low blow when the referee's not looking. You want an autograph? I'll slap the damn pen and paper out your hand and tell you, come back with $20, kid, then we'll talk.
Mm.
Maybe I shouldn't come out and mingle with you people anymore. Maybe when you come out and say, "Oh, I remember whenever I used to wrestle you," maybe I should just be honest about it, and say the things I really want to say. Like, yeah, I hated you then,
Now
and I
tell
hate
us how
you
you feel. We're in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, sir. Tell us how you feel. Really, it sounds like that the fans forgot the sacrifices that you gave. It sounds like that you put your all into building this company and into this town, and you're not getting what you thought you were going to get. It sounds. I mean, at least I'm missing something. I mean, tell us how you really feel, sir.
Well, after I started really thinking about it, I started looking at what you people cheer down there. And I don't mind getting the booze after seeing what you cheer. And if
Mm.
there's anybody in that WVWF locker room or from the audience even, the ropes, they're right there. Cross into them at your own risk. But if anybody down there thinks they can shut me up and thinks, that maybe I'm not as good as I once was, or maybe I'm not the same guy I used to be. Maybe I got a little too soft running this LAW company, and maybe I got a little too soft getting cheered and teaming up with the Syndicate. Nah. If you think that you can step up to the greatest of all time there's ever been in the 30 years at WVWF or whatever name it was under previously, I'm going to be there. And you can come get in between the ropes. And I'm going to show you exactly who and what I am because I tried to do things the right way. I tried to be a better person. I tried to be a good guy.
You tried to be a good guy, but it sounds like this Saturday that you might be in a mood that you might want to fight and you might want to show these fans that maybe from your vantage point, sir, that they didn't deserve you. It sounds like this Saturday that you're going to be busy.
I'm going to end it on this note. I'm going to say this and end this conversation because I'm
Okay,
getting
we'll
kind of
transit.
upset.
Yes, sir. I understand. I respect your opinion. Go ahead.
If you thought I was bad before, second verse will be same as the first, just a little more violent and a little more worse.
Oh my God. A little bit more violent, and it could be a little worse for anybody that's going to step in the ring there with the one and only Mr. Michael McMoney. And that's all going to come to a head here coming up this Saturday at Ring Cleaning. It's in the same building you're going to see the next Law show. So you know what? Maybe you just hang out at 325 7th Street in Parkersburg. You know what? Just sit there camp out for 2.5 days. Is that possible? Can you camp out actually after the show and just stay there till Saturday?
I wouldn't be caught hanging out on that street with those bums.
Well, I'll tell
Let's
you
just
what.
put it like
In New
that.
York, for a while they had landlord tenant rules that landlords couldn't kick out tenants, and I'm going to leave that at that because I do have a lot of friends that are rich landlords. I'm going to not show my wealth even
Yeah.
further, but I will tell you much. According to Mr. McMoney, then just show up Wednesday and then just come back Saturday, and you'll definitely want to check out ring cleaning here because there'll be plenty to talk about in the West Virginia Wrestling Federation. I have no doubt that the fans have mixed opinions about what you had to say either, but we'll certainly come back to that because I want to talk about the topic that I have been waiting for all night, and that is the
All right,
Tag
good.
Team Championship Tournament here coming up this Wednesday. It all comes to a head. You guys are crowning your first ever Tag Team Champions, and some familiar faces, and a team that, I mean, I still am kind of perplexed at this one, but I'm going to put it up here on the screen, the bracket first, before we unveil that team that I'm sure you're going to be talking about quite a bit here. But obviously, you can see it here, and it's the Genophage. You had Class Act, Death Piggy, New Religion, Team Fan Vote. I mean, what's your thoughts here going into this Tag Team Championship Tournament to crown your first ever Tag Team Champions Wednesday night?
Well, let's take a look at the brackets and break it down. Let's start with that. Let me readjust myself here. I'm gonna have to take a look at this.
Yeah, well, I got the
Okay,
first bracket, then the second bracket. Okay, the irony is March
so
Madness just completed. Yep,
the first bracket is the Genophage, which
yep.
is that lousy, no good, classless bum Pav Novak's ungodly creation.
Well,
I have no idea why they're coming to LAW. I'm well, I lie. Stupid question, huh? Pav Novak's the reason why.
yeah,
And Pav Novak is a gutless human being. I cannot stand him.
I can see how
And
you're
the
telling
only
us how you
reason,
really feel.
yeah, I'm trying real hard to keep it together here because
No, you can say what you want on
nothing.
this platform. No, by all means. I mean,
You
trust me.
know what? You know
Tell
what?
us how you feel. Listen.
Nothing raises my damn blood pressure worse than Pav Novak. Okay,
Yeah.
I hate the bum. He has this idea of professional wrestling, and it's not. Okay, it's a circus. It's a circus. And what he did is he didn't even hire good circus performers. No, no, no. You see, I said it on FUTV numerous times
Yep.
now. He went to the local soup kitchen, found a couple bums laying around, and said, "Hey, I bet you make a good wrestler. Come in here and hit each other with weapons and cripple each other." And that's the thing about the LAW Council. Now, I'm the only level headed one.
Yeah.
Pav Novak wants these guys and girls to get in the ring with these weapons and no disqualifications, and he wants them to cripple each other.
But it's
Tim
2025
Titan,
though. But it's 2025. Do you think that he's trying to evolve, or tell me why you don't agree?
I don't agree because he wants to make a mockery out of professional wrestling. You understand? Tom Bryce, I am a traditionalist.
Yeah, I
I
know that. I
believe
can see that.
I believe in the history. I believe in the prestige that comes with professional wrestling. I'm the kind of guy that you should be walking into that damn building wearing a suit and tie if you're any kind of professional. Not walking in wearing a t-shirt and a pair of cargo shorts, drinking a beer and smoking a joint like Pat fucking Novak. Sorry, didn't mean to cuss there.
That's okay. I got the beat button ready. But go ahead. Keep going. Keep going.
This guy walks around, this bum, not even a guy, this bum walks around my locker room because I have to share this with me. See, that's the problem with the
But
council.
wrestling's not Wall Street, though. I mean, wrestling's not. This is not CEO businessmen. This is not the way we see things in like the New York Yankee way. I mean, if wrestlers want to expose or wear certain attire, I mean, shouldn't that what's best for business or no? Tell me why I'm missing something.
We are professionals. Or we're
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be. We're supposed to be anyways. At
Mm-hmm.
least that's how I was taught.
Okay.
And then whenever you have these guys and girls walking into the building wearing a t-shirt that's two sizes too big and a pair of Walmart shorts with a stain on the
A
pocket
hoodie
and a
and
pair of
yeah.
Crocs,
Yeah.
You look like you just come off the street. You look like you're about to buy a ticket. Come to the building. Look respectable. Show the people who you are. No, you're not just one of them. No, 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 no. Well, but then again, Pav Novak's bringing you in. There's a good chance you should probably still be in the audience. Think about that
But if
one.
Pav Novak is bringing in people that are a diverse members of the roster, isn't that still what's best for business, or what am I missing?
Well, you see, here's the thing, and it goes back to me, in my estimation, being the only level-headed council member.
Okay.
Pav Novak's wanting these guys and girls to come in here and kill themselves and cripple themselves. Tim Titan is paying big, monstrous human beings to come in and cripple our best talent.
We're going to get to that.
Tommy Horror has built an empire overnight and has
Without even,
control
yeah,
of the
holding a
LAW
championship.
championship.
Yeah.
His deal is he coaxes people into getting crippled by El Shaddai. Am I the only one that cares about the welfare of the talent? Am I the only one that cares that these are human beings? Am I the only one that cares that these guys and girls and they got to get up the next morning and continue life? Because that's the way it feels.
Mm.
It feels like it feels to me like, you know, the art of pro wrestling is being lost here. You
I
know,
would say, yeah, okay. I'm
you
listening.
know that I got voted against for no disqualifications.
Right.
I got voted against on the attire of coming to the arena. I got voted against on damn near everything. The only thing I did win is the three-way dance. LAW has a three-way dance because of Michael McMoney, and I barely won out on that vote. Pav Novak, his bum ass wanted a triple threat match. I said, why? So the one person gets screwed in the end because they weren't involved in the decision? You want to be the alternative, Novak? Let's have it go to a finish. Let's have it be a real winner. It doesn't have to be one fall and it's over. No. That's why we do the three-way dances because of me.
Yeah,
So
I understand that, but I mean, but if these are the names that you seem to have a problem with, Pav Nomak, you mentioned, Tommy Hara, you certainly talked about Timothy Titan. We're going to get to him, don't you worry. La El Shaddai is a name you certainly brought up at the beginning of the show. Brohim, you talked about some names, and especially you focused a lot on Pav Novak. But I mean, at the end of the day, though,
I
shouldn't
hate
the
Pav Novak.
I could certainly see that, but isn't that though they're just doing their jobs, and that the roster itself, if they can't compete or beat them, I mean, you know, what are we supposed to do? I mean, it's 2025. Some would say, your ideas would be great, like when Jerry Jarrett was running the territory. Some would say, the Jim
Yes,
Cornette school of
yes,
thought. But it seems to me
yes.
like, and again, I'm not taking sides, but it seems like legit alternative wrestling. The name legit alternative wrestling is to give us like Baskin Robbins, 32 flavors. I mean, so what am I missing? I'm just trying to help me understand going into this Wednesday, sir, especially with this tag team championship tournament and such, and where we're going.
The legitimacy should be established in the ring with holds and not
Okay.
with weapons, not with shenanigans. Okay. The
Mm-hmm.
alternative part is nobody does that. Nobody actually has professional wrestling. It's all watered down of what it's watered down. I'm not the only person that thinks it.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody thinks it. They have for 20 years now. Okay. And to talk about the business part for a minute, I
Let's
do
go
want
to
to
this
say that on April 2nd, I have a huge business announcement because
business announcement.
Eric Bischoff once told me that if your business isn't growing, it's dying. If it's stagnant, if it's receding, it's dying. If it's not growing, it's
Yeah,
dying.
I mean,
So
as a fellow businessman, I would agree with that. As somebody that is a businessman that has had success, yeah. All right, I'll give you that. I'll give you that, sir. Fair play.
I'm going to announce that on April 2nd, I'm opening the show with a huge in my mind business announcement for legit alternative wrestling. And we are growing.
Well, I know that we have a sponsorship. I mean, I know that we have an energy drink that we've partnered with. I mean, I know that
Yes,
we're also
Dubby,
part of.
Dubby.
Yeah, Dubby, who I know Dubby very well. There's a company in Australia, a backyard wrestling company that works with them, so I know them very
Really?
well. Yeah, yep. Wrestling Zero, yep, Dubby. So I know the drink very well, and I know you guys are also a part of another group, a conglomerate of wrestling companies that'll really change the game. So I know that those are things from a business standpoint that you'll be very busy less than 48 hours from now. But I want to go back to that tag team tournament because you did talk about obviously what's going on there, and there was
Sorry,
yeah,
got
no, 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 no,
sidetracked.
no, no. I understand we're in prime time, and you're here, and I could see it. You're getting fired up. I understand where you're coming from because there is two sides of the coin. There's always been this debate in wrestling. Should we be more of the Hart, the Jarrett way, or rather today's 2025 style with the likes of a John Moxley or the brash CM Punk type Seth Rollins? I got it, and I understand. It's a tightrope, to quote Stevie Ray Vaughan. I got all that, but there's this tag team tournament to crown your first ever tag team champions. And it was announced, speaking of things that are rather interesting, that one Day Jameson and Timothy Titan are going to team. And, the last, I don't know, 6-7 weeks, this has certainly been the topic, at least on this platform. And certainly in the talk of the independent and even the wrestling world. And I mean, boy, I guess to quote Paula Abdul, opposites attract, or what am I
Oh, that's
missing?
my favorite
Because
music video of all time.
well, I do certainly quote it. Paula Abdul was definitely a favorite of mine, but I'm going to get to that for a different time in a different place. But Day Jameson, Timothy Titan, tag team partners, especially after what they've said and done to each other. I mean, what's going on?
Um, Timothy Titan screwed up.
He
He put
did?
his foot in his mouth. He put his foot in his mouth when he made the observation that CJ Boucher
Yes. We spoke about this
was
before.
listed as a member of the new religion. So we looked at that, and Tommy did kind of have a gripe.
Wait, who?
Wait,
Whoa, whoa! What do I hear? I hear something in the background that sounds a familiar
Who
voice.
let you in my office?
it's not important.
Well,
Anyways,
no.
Tommy,
I mean, it sounds. No, listen, we're live in prime time, baby. We don't pre-record these things. I mean, I voice sounds very
are you
familiar. A
serious?
familiar voice and face.
I'm Mr.
Wait a
Bryce,
minute.
hi.
Is that?
Yes, that's Tom Bryce.
Yeah, no.
Who the hell else would I be
Back
talking
on it.
The
to?
office is
Right.
the major question.
I'm in your office because there was a power outage and mine has problems. That's why I came in here to talk to Tom
Well,
Bryce.
that
Is
might
that
answer
okay
the
with
question that Mr. Titan had
If
about
it
a
was
half
anybody
an
else,
hour
it would
ago.
be.
No.
If it was, hey, look at me. If it was anybody else, it wouldn't be okay.
If it was
Mm.
anybody else, it wouldn't be. If I was talking to anybody else other than Tom Bryce, it wouldn't be okay.
Also,
No,
for
we're
the
okay.
record, you
We're
definitely
live.
need to
I
grow the
want to
beard
see
back
this.
because you look like a fat baby.
Do you mind? Like I'm in the
Whoa!
middle of an interview here, pal. Do you mind?
It's a tinterview.
It's a tinterview.
It's a tinterview.
Yeah, well, you're a
Well,
Tim idiot.
Who let you in my office?
But
The
did you have
kid.
the key? Did you have the keys? Did you come in here? I mean, that's an interesting question because
God, so many
I've
people.
seen shows on Sportswire before where guys got interrupted and got jumped on here, and
Get in here.
somebody
Give
found
me
their
one.
way to come in.
Give me
So
one. I can't.
What?
let's talk
What
about
are you
this here.
doing?
It's Timothy
I can't
Titan who's
get
here live with Michael McMoney less than 48 hours from now, but for guilty by association.
Looking way better than him, by the way. Looking
Mr.
way
Titan,
better than him, by the
obviously,
way.
it's
Just
good
throwing
to
it out
be
there.
with
Are
you
you
here,
serious?
but what is
Look
going
at
to
this
happen
guy.
here with
Get
you?
your
and
haircut before Wednesday,
you know
please.
what?
Get your
Obviously,
haircut before Wednesday, please.
you know what? He's a
Thank
wealthy
you.
man, and I guess Mr. McMoney, I guess I don't know what you're going to do here, but Timothy Titan, what are you going to do? Most importantly, when it comes to you and
It's a little bit light.
Dave Jameson,
Listen,
and
adults are talking.
Ayolas
Okay?
are,
If you let me and
radio
Mr. Bryce have a
Ayolas are
conversation,
illegal, but
adults are
I'm going to let
talking.
it slide.
Adults are talking.
Adults are talking.
I'm going to let
Mr. Bryce,
no,
the answer to your question is
yeah,
I've been put into a very, very odd spot.
I could
As you
see.
guys hinted too early, Pepper Pride is an absolutely amazing talent who is very hard to get a hold of and book.
Yeah, I'm aware of. I'm aware
I
of
was
that.
forced. So it shouldn't be me. I'm just throwing it out there. It should be Pepper Pride. However,
You're cooked, pal.
I'm cooked.
You're cooked.
I
You're getting in that ring with Dave Jamieson,
Dude,
and you're
he's
going to
dead.
fight the new religion. You understand me?
dead.
Well, we might be
Has to
losing
gotta
our
win,
religion
right?
here without an answer. But I mean, will you be able to compose yourself after everything? I mean, this all started. I'm curious, Mr. Titan. Courtney and I went back and forth with this. Day bumped into you when we showed the footage of
Wait,
that, and
time. Hold on. Are you asking? Did you just say, can I?
well, I'm going to ask it to you because
Do
we're
you
live. I
mind?
mean,
Do I
there's
look
no
like
there's
the
no
ladies'
do
host
overs
here,
here.
huh?
Well, then
Mr.
get out
Titan.
Do I
of
look like the ladies' host?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are certainly
You're in my
having a
interview.
Interview.
No, well, now it's
Interview.
the three of us here. Now we're going to have a 3-man booth here at this point because we're live. But I mean,
What, you gonna call it a 3-way douchebag?
how well? What we won't go
You
that
know what?
far. But what?
Hey. You know what?
What?
Tom Bryce,
Yes,
it
sir.
has been excellent chatting with you, sir. I've greatly
You
appreciated
sure?
the
You what? You sure
opportunity.
you're gonna leave?
You
We're
know what?
live.
Hey. You want this interview so damn bad? Huh? You want the interview so
Uh-oh.
damn bad, Tim?
Interview.
God knows you couldn't get booked on Tom Bryce's show yourself because he's a stand-up guy unlike you and he's not going to take a bribe.
Trust me.
So you want the interview spot that damn bad? Huh?
Go
Take
ahead.
the
What
interview
else
Well,
to do
boy,
spot,
I
Tim.
tell you what. I mean, I
Hey,
guess
hey,
tensions are
fucking
coming
twice,
to a
Tim
head here
Titan.
before this Wednesday, as Michael McMoney has just walked off his own interview. He has walked off here, apparently frustrated with Timothy Titan and his own office coming in
be
here.
careful with Steven.
And Mr. McMoney is certainly
You're
these
damn
last
lucky I'm
2 minutes.
Bye.
Well, this is rather
Bye. Have a
unexpected
good
here
one.
tonight. Mr. Titan, it is good to be with you, but Mr. McMoney
It's
has
amazing to be here with you, Mr. Bryce. I want to tell you how much I appreciate you because
All right.
everybody in my situation right now, you are the only person who is willing to at least attempt to give me the benefit of the doubt.
Well, let's talk about it, though. The fact that, forget about all of that, this coming Wednesday, less than 48 hours from now, you are going to be on an apron side by side with Dave Jamieson and everything that the two of you have went through and said about each other. I mean, how are you going to compose yourself to maybe have a possibility of winning the first ever legit alternative wrestling tag team championships? Oh, sir, the irony.
I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to continue to be a professional like I always am. If he's willing to play ball, I'm willing to play ball. If there's gold at the end of this rainbow, let's ride this rainbow together, buddy.
He seems like, though, he may. Do you think that he cares about gold? He seems.
Can I change my name so it doesn't say Michael McMoney? So I don't
Yeah,
have to.
what you need to do is if you type it in.
Nah, never mind.
I mean, you might have more money than Mr. McMoney.
Yeah,
You showed it
I
on the air.
I said I would have a social media guy do it, but I fired.
Well, I'm going to put the poster up
in my
again
office,
and put the link up here. I see a bunch of people are still here in the chat. Thank you very much for that. But I mean, he doesn't seem like he wants that possibility of tag team goal. He's got you and killing you in his sights. And he's obviously, I brought up with Courtney. I know Dave very well. I've known him for a while. And he's another guy that maybe is thinking more with his heart rather than his head. But what do you say and what will you do?
You're saying exactly what I'm saying. Once again, if he's not willing to work with me, I don't know what to tell him. This is an amazing opportunity he's blowing. You got one goal, and imagine you got one on each side, and I got one. I'm just saying, like, if he's willing to blow another opportunity because he works off emotion instead of business sense, like, I can't help this kid do what's best for business. I need him to realize what's best for business and do it on his own.
So what happens, though, if you guys are on the apron together and one man is, the usual tag match, somebody's getting beat up, and are you going to want to, help him with the hot tag and come in, or you want to selfishly see after where it all started famously, where he bumped into you, where you're not even as an active wrestler, doing camera work, and maybe you want to selfishly see that, let's say Mr. Dave Jamieson gets another, guilty by association beating. I don't know. What will happen, though, when he needs that hot tag? Will you just do what?
First of all, I want to thank you once again for pointing out that he started this. I was doing camera work because that's what a professional does. They fill in where needed, no matter what it is, okay? So regardless of whether I'm the owner of the business, I'm going to do what needs done. And Dave Jamieson started this, okay? So the blood is on his hands, not mine.
So when Courtney says last week that, oh, come on, this happens all the time, and there's a cue, and he's coming out, and it was on purpose. Like, what do you say to that, especially now that you're here right now?
Like, who is she? That's what I say. Why would I take her opinion seriously? Okay. You know
Okay.
how McMoney was saying earlier, he cried when he got to see her little article. That's only because she doesn't want him no more. Okay. So, regardless of what's happening, like, I don't know why I would take anybody's opinions serious in any way, because I'm the only one here who's attempting to do what's best for business at the end of the day. And
So
that is bringing in people like Mickey Knuckles, who you brought up.
yep.
That is bringing in people like Pepper Pride, who you brought up. That is bringing in people like the Soul Taker, who you brought up.
Yep.
That's me. That's not anybody else but me.
So
when it comes to the end of the day, it's me trying to do what's best for business.
So it sounds like then really that there is a difference of the way things are being run in law. And it sounds like really that you're the one that's doing what's best for business, and the likes of Michael McMoney and others, that they're really just the old guard, and it's really their game, and they're just not behind. Well, yeah, I see it.
This is what the big difference is, by the way. This is what the difference is right here, okay?
I see it.
That's what the difference is.
I see it.
I can afford to bring these people in. That's the difference.
And would some would say, and Courtney especially had mentioned that the attack on Day Jameson was too far, and she was really having a hard time doing her job as a journalist covering law. What would you say toward that?
I would say the same thing I said to Jay Jameson. You threw the first stone. Just because my rock was bigger than yours doesn't make me the bad guy.
So really,
I can't help it. I can't help it that I was one step ahead of you.
And he was 2 steps behind then.
Yeah. Or 3. I would say 3. Let's be honest. Whatever it costs to buy it to be 3, I'll pay for it.
So does it mean something to you, the irony of possibly winning the first ever legit alternative wrestling tag team championships with Day Jameson? Does that mean anything to you, or what?
I mean, kind of, but at the same point, the fact that them votes didn't go for Mickey Knuckles and Robert Ketchum goes to show me that people in Parkersburg aren't paying attention.
I think I voted for Soul Taker and Mickey Knuckles. I think was my 2. I think that was,
and that makes sense because you're a Tim-telligent person, and that's what a Tim-telligent person would do.
I don't know how intelligent I am, but I just thought knowing Mickey and seeing Soul Taker, that would have been interesting. But it's here this Wednesday, and you're
also,
not
just for the record, guess who would have paid for it?
Well, I say it. You are definitely. I get money, but you're not an active wrestler anymore. So how in this
I'm
company?
not anymore technically, but I you know what? I'll give you the lowdown right here. Okay.
Yeah.
On April 5th.
Yeah.
I'm making my in-ring return at Express Wrestling for Berg Brawl.
Well, I'm going to probably mention that for a few minutes tomorrow with Godric Sandwell. I won't ask you much on Godric tonight because this is about obviously the tag team, tournament and being the first ever tag team champions. I'll probably bring that up. We also have a show here at the West Virginia Wrestling Federation. We're actually talking with Timothy Titan for a few more minutes, not Michael McMoney. So just to be confused for the audience,
yeah,
if you just walked in
don't
here,
listen to the
if
name.
you walked in here for the first time and I see some of my regulars, James Taylor and Judas the Evil Angel, we're talking with Timothy Titan. He couldn't change his name because that's just people, they don't. StreamYard's an interesting thing, but you obviously, though, again, aren't
the bottom part's right though.
Yeah, I got that. But I mean, so preparation or no preparation going into Wednesday or what?
Well, I mean, Secret Time, I've technically been prepping for about 6 months now. So I've been back in the ring training. I've been back in the gym working. So this isn't just me making a random comeback. Like I've been preparing for this for the better part of 6 to 8 months now.
With Day Jameson of all people, Day Jameson.
I'd be lying if I said this is how I wanted my return to go, but I mean, for once I find myself not being able to buy my way out of a scenario. So
now,
I'm really not positive.
If he does decide in your match to all of a sudden say, you know what, I'm going to give you a receipt what will you do? Because it's possible he may give a receipt instead of wanting those championships. He
Here's the
kind of
honest to God
implied that.
truth.
Yeah.
I will be less than surprised because Dave Jamieson has figured out a way to blow opportunity after opportunity. So if he's willing to turn his back on me and not win this tournament with me, which obviously could happen if we work together, then it's just another opportunity that he lets slip out of his fingers. So I'd be less than shocked, to be honest.
So really, you're expecting him to do something, but are you then, and don't give it away, but you seem like you're prepared for that receipt. Is that right, sir?
As I said earlier, I'm always one step ahead. I'm always one step ahead.
Well,
So
I'll tell you what, without going into further details, if you do want to go and watch the show, you still have a chance to buy a ticket. You can go to the Legit Alternative Wrestling Facebook page. You can go buy a ticket. It is only $10. You can go to 325 7th Street in beautiful Parkersburg, West Virginia. You can watch Legit Alternative Wrestling's latest show, Guilty by Association. You're going to see also one half of the main event tomorrow night here live, Godric Samuel, to talk about his match against La El Shaddai, who has certainly been extremely impressive here. You're also going to get...
Also, that's one of the few things that I agree with Shane on. I see Godric Sandwell walking out on Wednesday with the title. Big fan of that guy. Big fan
you
of
know
that
what?
guy.
I mean, my brother Brian's middle name is Shane. If he did want Godric Sandwell to win the championship, I'll definitely make sure to ask him about that later. He is a wrestling fan, so maybe, you did speak to him about that. So I'll give you a pass on that one. But Miss Wood did want to say, though, that don't
First
run
of all, it's Timothy. As I'm reading it, it's Timothy.
and stick to looking stupid and hiding behind Brohemoth like the you are, because I got the beat button. But yeah, what do you want to say to Courtney on there?
I like that she put the money symbols in there. I appreciate that, showing respect to the money mark there with the money symbols and the P word. But I mean, like I said, I don't really know why I would take her opinion to heart in any way at all. Oh,
But
you
she
got
was
one
featured in
article.
Slam. But so you don't seem to be at all impressed by Slam Wrestling.
See, that's the one that kind of makes me think. That's where, like, let her get 3 or 4 more, and then maybe I'll be impressed. But
so I want to ask.
even
You know what? I want to ask.
even a blind squirrel gets a nut every once in a while. Just saying.
Well, all right. Well, let me ask you though. I asked her this. The whole thing. She's talked about how long she's known Day. She's talked about how this situation.
I've known him longer. Just throwing it out there.
All right.
I knew him before his name was Day. I'm not going to drop the real name, but
yeah, I think I actually know the real name, but I'm going to leave that at that because the only name I know is Day Jamison. But I know that we have other people who have real names. But
I like the other name. Day Jamison's an asshole, but the other name dude was all right.
I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to focus on Day Jamison because I asked Courtney, and how is she going to be able to do her job in the fact that she's got this personal emotion invested in Day. And it goes back to what you're saying. Is Day's personal emotions getting the best of him? And is that what you see happening here?
I 100% see that happening. That's the thing. I'm going to be rational here with you, Day. This is an amazing opportunity for both of us. I can make my comeback by winning a tournament. You could have 2 belts. Like, there's no reason that we shouldn't go through this, put the past behind us in a way, and look to the future. That's all right,
I'll tell you what, since I know that we're going to end the show with this, I want to ask you one final question. And this is going to go right to the whole nook of the conversation and why you came on. If you had any final words for Day Jamison before Wednesday night, Parkersburg, West Virginia, what would they be?
Don't do the wrong thing again.
Don't do the wrong thing again. Short, sweet, simple, and to the point. Short, sweet, simple, and to the point. And if you want to follow Legit Alternative Wrestling, catch up on the Go Home Show to FUTV episode 11, I would highly encourage you do that and use that as a reference point before tomorrow's show as well with Godric Sandwell. You can hit a sub button for them on YouTube. Their subscribers are up. I know we got a few tonight that subscribed. Thank you so much for that. and join us in supporting legit alternative wrestling. And starting with each show on April 30th, I'm going to donate one ticket every time. So if you want to go out there and watch legit alternative wrestling, you want to watch a wrestling show, what I do every month here, we donate tickets to shows. I do it to a couple of shows already. Our friends at Amplified Enterprise Pro Wrestling. We've done it for our friends Pro Wrestling Double X, our buddy Mr. Eric Black. We've done it obviously for our friends in the IMF. And now we're going to do that here for our friends here in legit alternative wrestling. So join me.
And I'll do something for you, actually, Mr. Bryce. I will do it if you come to the show on Wednesday and you mention either Sportswire or you say Reverend Tom Bryce. First 5 people get him free on me.
Well, you know what? No, I would love. I unfortunately, I'm in New York City. I would love to watch these shows. I think somebody asked me that. They said, "Oh, would you like to come to the show?" And I'm like, sadly, I'm in New York City, but I will donate a ticket for every show going forward after this one. But in the meantime, do support them. I'm excited. We'll have Godric Sandwell on here tomorrow night to talk about his match. I'll probably ask him about your situation and a slew of other things. Probably the most excited I've ever been to have Godric on. So we'll talk about that in here. And I want to give you the floor. Any closing thoughts? Anything else you want to plug, share, or say before we get ready for tomorrow and Wednesday, sir?
Hey, do the right thing with me, dude. Come on, play ball.
Do the right thing. Well,
And
you know what?
I want to thank you. I want to thank you for allowing me to come in here and convey the.
We're going to talk about this afterward. Oh, listen, Courtney's here. Listen, I got news for you. Courtney's here Thursday.
You're going to talk to Courtney?
Yeah, she said she's coming on Thursday. She wants to talk about the show. I mean, you know what? But by all means, maybe you want a link, you want an invite, do you want to come in and say hello?
It's an invite. I would absolutely love one, but I got to figure out how much money I got to pay her to kick. Never mind.
Well, I'll tell you what. Listen,
moving on. Sorry, moving on.
I'll tell you what. Payolas are illegal. I did take music class in college, but what I will say is, if you are around and you want to talk to her, the link will be open. But she'll be here Thursday night. She'll give us post match coverage, and she'll talk about some of those things. But this was certainly your first of 2 shows to get you ready for legit alternative wrestling's Guilty by Association. We were joined originally for most of the show by Michael McMoney, but then it is his office after all. Timothy Titan came on here and talked about what's going to happen in his potential tag team tournament more with Dave Jameson. Boy, that's a syndicate of a collective like a moment there. But that is there for the show.
It'd be hard.
My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce. Your voice, figuratively and literally, we're all wrestling minds. If you're here, hit the sub button for us, like, share the interview. Also, I'll be here at about 9 o'clock tomorrow with Godric Sandwell, less than 24 hours before his match and the main event, and the rest of the show we'll talk about as well. But until then, thank you so much, everybody, here for tuning in. One more time, it is legit Alternative Wrestling Day here on Sportswire Radio. We'll give that certificate, of course, to everybody here in the company. Congratulations. Thank you so much for your support. And until then, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on the number one global radio station that is Sportswire Radio. We're all